I am Rachelle Loyear, Vice President of Integrated Security Solutions at Allied Universal. I'm here today to talk with Glen Kucera, President of Enhanced Protection Services, about the World Security Report. I am so happy to be talking to you. Instead of getting right into the World Security Report, we're in New York. Let's talk about what's been going on in New York lately.
The incidents in New York in the last 8 months have been a huge impact on our business and the way our clients really look at their security protocol. I always say, what's the common thing that the victims, even on December 4th or July 29th, what's the common? The day before, they thought it would never happen to them. Nobody ever suspects this to happen. So these are eye-opening events.
Let's talk about what we're actually here to talk about today, which is the World Security Report. One of the findings in the report was how much financial, economic, world instability there is, social instability. How does that instability play into everything that we've been seeing?
I think the results of the World Security Report are spot on for what we're seeing in the threat environment. It's ever evolving. There's a lot of instances out there where whether it's political unrest, whether it's unrest in the Middle East, it leads to a lot of anxiety. It leads to a lot of hostile acts.
So one of those results was how much concern there is to protect specifically executives. The institutional investors, this was fascinating to me. We're targeting like about 30% of a company's value is really tied into that executive. How do I assess for that individual?
For years, people thought they didn't need executive protection. Maybe the CEOs thought that they could handle themselves, but even the toughest CEO unarmed versus a firearm is not going to win. And there's always cost to it, right? There's always a budget. People get comfortable with their spend. As we mentioned, it'll never happen to me. And then an incident happens like December 4th, and you see the ramifications.
Well, and that's kind of what came out from those institutional investors talking about how critical it was to them as investors to have those executives protected. And so you saw an uptick in that.
100%. There's usually a key executive that maintains the intellectual property of that company, right? There's an executive that has all the client relationships. There's an executive that builds the culture of the company. The employees are there because of certain key executives and the mission and what they represent. So when you take one of them out of the equation, it's tough to measure the financial impact.
One of the findings of the World Security Report was that about 75% of companies have been targeted by misinformation, by disinformation. Um, your group works a lot in the intel space. How are you seeing these things come about?
We have seen a substantial change since COVID. Okay. Uh, More people sitting at home, more people on social media, more people living their lives, with the lifeline of social media, it seems. And that leads to more hostility, people taking sides. I think, even if we go back before COVID, there were threats being made on the internet, right? People didn't take them seriously. I think that December 4th incident really raised the awareness to how hostile acts can lead from some of that social media activity.
And is that plays into how you assess an organization to see what level of protection they might need?
Absolutely. When we look at a assessment, it's a number of things. It's for physical security. It's a social media monitoring, whether it's on the open web or dark web source. We use our investigations group. If it looks like it's a threat, is this a viable threat? Where's it coming from? How critical is it? So all of that plays into that whole analysis to determine what type of physical security is needed to protect the executives, the facilities, and the employees.
One of the findings in both the 2023 and the 2025 World Security Report was that companies that use a single third-party provider for more than 80% of their security requirements experience fewer incidents, and they have a higher level of confidence in their overall security program and their ability to deal with incidents. How do you think putting all of these things together under a single provider makes for a better security program that could help explain some of these findings?
The security posture is much better when it's one company, it's one culture, it's one hiring practice. The communication is much better. And it eliminates finger pointing, right? They have one point of contact. If there's issues, we all discuss it. We're all part of a team. You know, if we're playing a baseball game, there's a center field and a right field, there's a pop fly. You know, if you're not communicating, the ball's going to hit the ground, right? But, you know, having that communication makes us be much more successful and reduces greatly the opportunity for a threat to sneak through.
So let's say I'm a chief security officer. I have my World Security Report 2025 edition. What does your CSO buddy do with this report?
Some of it is to monitor their security protocol versus what others are doing. What are the threats? Are we identifying the same threats as other companies? Some of it use it to validate what they're doing from a security offering. They go to the investment committee or the chairman of the board, or have board meetings and say, okay, this is what 2,200 security executives are saying. We are following all of these. The other great thing about the World Security Report is the threat changes. So what happened in 2023, there's been a couple of very impactful incidents between 2023 and 25. And because the information is always fresh, it constantly reminds them to pay attention to the threat, pay attention to their security protocol and adjust the posture. And they do use this information to validate all the decisions they're making.